Nice that you are watching this video. In this video we are going to talk about the album Reputation of Taylor Swift. Reputation, stylized in all lowercase, is the sixth studio album by the American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift. It was released on November 10, 2017, as her last album with Big Machine Records. She conceived Reputation as a response to the media scrutiny on her private life and public image after her previous album, 1989-2014, propelled her toward global stardom. Inspired by Swift's romantic relationships and tarnished media image caused by celebrity disputes. The songs on Reputation altogether form a linear narrative about a protagonist expressing anger and vengeance against wrongdoers and finding solace in a blossoming love. Produced largely by Swift, Jack Antonoff, Max Martin, and Shellback, Reputation is an electropop and R&B album with elements of urban styles such as hip-hop, trap, and EDM. Its densely arranged electronic sound is characterized by programmed drum machines, pulsating synthesizers and bass, and manipulated vocals. Swift opted out of television and press interviews to promote Reputation. Before the album's release, she cleared out her website and social media accounts, which generated widespread media attention. The lead single, Look What You Made Me Do, topped charts worldwide. The single, Delicate, topped the US airplay charts. And the Reputation Stadium Tour became the highest-grossing North American tour of all time. In the United States, Reputation was Swift's fourth consecutive album to sell 1 million first-week copies, spent 4 weeks atop the Billboard 200, and was certified triple platinum. The album also topped charts and received multi-platinum certifications in Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. When Reputation was first released, music critics generally praised Swift's intimate songwriting about love but were divided by the production and themes of fame and celebrity, which some described as harsh and derivative. Some media publications deemed the album disappointing in the context of Swift's celebrity and the U.S. political landscape. Retrospective reviews opined that the initial reception was affected by the negative press, and described the album as a work of artistic experimentation and evolution for Swift. Reputation was nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album at the 61st Annual Grammy Awards, and it was listed on Slant magazine's list of the best albums of the 2010s. A movie on the Reputation tour was also released on Netflix. Taylor Swift described her fifth studio album, 1989, as her first, official pop album, that marked her departure from the country music stylings she had been known for. Released on October 27, 2014. The album has a synth-pop production characterized by prominent electronic elements, including synthesizers, programmed drums, and processed backing vocals. It sold 14 million copies worldwide. Its accompanying world tour was the highest-grossing of 2015, and 3 of its singles reached number 1 on the US Billboard Hot 100. 1989 propelled Swift toward a pop icon status, with Billboard writing that it brought forth a kind of cultural omnipresence that's rare for a 2010s album. Swift's popularity turned her into a media fixation. British GQ wrote that she became a lightning rod for accelerating cultural anxieties about race, gender, and privilege. Her girl squad of female celebrity friends, including fashion models, actresses, and singers, received backlash for allegedly promoting a false idea of feminism, which the Daily Telegraph remarked as impossibly beautiful women flaunting impossibly perfect lives. Tabloid media publicized her short-lived romantic relationships with the Scottish producer Calvin Harris and the English actor Tom Hiddleston. A feud with the rapper Kanye West and the media personality Kim Kardashian over West's song, Famous, in which he claims he made Swift a success, "I made that bitch famous," was controversial. Although Swift said she never consented to the lyric, Kardashian released a phone recording between Swift and West, in which the former seemingly consented to another portion of the song. In 2020, the full transcript was leaked, proving that the recording was edited to create controversy about Swift. After the West Kardashian controversy, critics regarded Swift as fake and calculating, a conclusion that surmounted after years of what they saw as a deliberate maneuver to carefully cultivate her public image. Her once reputation as America's sweetheart, attributed to her down-to-earth and positive image, began to fade. The tumultuous events made her a subject of an online #IsOverParty hashtag, where her detractors denounced her as a snake. They overshadowed her public advocacy, the praise she received for her victory in a sexual assault trial, part of an ongoing public debate about sexual misconduct, had minimal impact in improving her image. Swift became increasingly reticent on social media despite a large following and avoided the press amidst the commotion. She announced a prolonged hiatus and felt people might need a break from. During seclusion from public appearances, Swift wrote Reputation as a defense mechanism against the rampant media scrutiny targeting her and a means to revamp her state of mind. She said in a 2019 Rolling Stone interview that she followed the songwriting for her 2014 single, Blank Space, which satirizes the criticism targeting her for dating too many people in her 20s, and wrote Reputation from the perspective of a character that others believed her to be. In a 2023 Time interview, she described the album's creation as a goth punk moment of female rage at being gaslit by an entire social structure. Although the media gossip was a major inspiration, recurring romantic themes of love and friendship that had been dominant in Swift's songwriting remained intact. She recalled that amidst the battle raging on outside, she found solace in quiet moments with her loved ones and began creating a newfound private life on her own terms, for the first time since starting her career. Swift produced Reputation with two teams, one with Jack Antonoff and the other with Max Martin and Shellback. She had worked with all three on 1989. By engaging a smaller production group on Reputation than on 1989, she envisioned that the album would be more coherent but still versatile enough. She executive produced the album and co-wrote all of its 15 tracks. Martin and Shellback co-wrote and produced 9, and Antonoff co-wrote and co-produced the remaining 6, all of which were co-produced by Swift. Ali Payami, Oscar Gurez, and Oscar Holter each co-wrote and co-produced a track with Martin and Shellback. Ready for It? So It Goes, and Dancing with Our Hands Tied. The track, Endgame, features songwriting credits and guest appearances from the English singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran and the American rapper Future. Recording sessions with Antonoff mostly took place at his home studio in Brooklyn, with several trips to Atlanta and California for him to incorporate ideas from other producers. He wanted Swift to capture her emotions at a particular time when you can feel like you can conquer the world, or you can feel like the biggest piece of garbage that ever existed, resulting in a very intense record, as Swift wanted to record the album in secrecy. Antonoff kept his studio computer offline to prevent a possible internet leak and deleted the trials once the mixing and mastering finalized. Reputation is primarily an electropop album. It incorporates a heavy, maximalist electronic production with EDM instrumentation and rhythms. The melodies are characterized by propulsive bass notes, pulsating synthesizers, and loud programmed drum machines. Pitchfork's Jamieson Cox described the instrumentation as hair-raising bass drops, vacuum cleaner synths, stuttering trap percussion, cyborg backing choirs. Swift's voice is heavily manipulated, either distorted or multi-tracked. Critics found Reputation sonically heavier, louder, and darker than its predecessor 1989's bright synth pop, with Neil McCormick from the Daily Telegraph deeming it a big, brash, all-guns blazing blast of weaponized pop. Swift associated Reputation's sound with imagery of nighttime cityscape, old warehouse buildings that had been deserted, and factory spaces. The album's first half, made up of mostly tracks produced by Martin and Shellback, is comparatively heavier in sound. The first 4 tracks, Ready for It, Endgame, I Did Something Bad, Don't Blame Me, are particularly aggressive. Ready for It has an industrial production backed by a thumping bassline. Endgame features sputtering trap beats. I Did Something Bad is punctuated by a dubstep drop, and Don't Blame Me has a gothic, gospel-oriented soundscape drenched in synthesizers, dubstep beats, and vocal harmonization. Look What You Made Me Do uses modular synthesizers, drums, and guitars in the second pre-chorus. It incorporates an interpolation of I'm Too Sexy, 1991, by the English band Right Said Fred. The power ballad, So It Goes, has an atmospheric trap pop production. King of My Heart features surging keyboard instruments in the pre-chorus and thumping drums in the post-chorus. And Dancing with Our Hands Tied is instrumented with propelling beats and an EDM refrain. The second half, mostly driven by Antonoff's 1980s synth pop production characterized by pulsing synthesizers and upbeat refrains, brings forth a somewhat softer, more emotional sound. John Caramanica of the New York Times described the change of tone. In the beginning, is indignant and barbed, but by the end she's practically cooing. Dress features a sultry production with stuttering beats, syncopated phrasings, swirling synthesizers, and a refrain containing falsetto vocals. Getaway Car and Call It What You Want are 2 atmospheric synth pop tracks. The latter, produced with an Akai MPC and strings simulated by a Yamaha DX7 synthesizer, incorporates a subdued trap R&B production. The closing track, the piano ballad, New Year's Day, is the album's only acoustic song. It was recorded on an acoustic piano in scratch takes that do not filter unwanted sounds from the outer environment. Influences of many urban genres, most prominently hip-hop, trap, and R&B, and other subgenres including grime, tropical house, and Miami bass, coalesce on Reputation. According to Caramanica, its sound is soft-core pop R&B, and the musical influences are rooted in black music but Swift them enough to where can credibly attempt them. Specifically, the drum patterns embrace trap influences and push Swift's vocals toward hip-hop and R&B-oriented cadences and delivery. For instance, Endgame features Swift singing with loose, near-rap cadences. Cox found this influence to strip her vocals off their expressiveness and give them a conversational quality. Other urban influences are on such tracks as Delicate, which incorporate a Caribbean-inflected sound and tropical house beats, Gorgeous, which features hip-hop trademark 808 drums and rhythms, and Dress, an R&B slow jam. On tracks such as Delicate, Getaway Car, King of My Heart, her vocals are processed with a vocoder, which NPR's Ann Powers attributed to the influence of rappers and R&B artists. Swift said that Reputation consists of a linear timeline. It begins with how she felt when she started working on the album and transitions to how she felt by the time she completed it. Inspired by the fantasy series Game of Thrones, she split the album into two sides. One contains songs about vengeance and drama, and the other about finding love, friendship, and something sacred throughout all the battle cries. The series' characters and little hints to foreshadow the storylines, which Swift considered cryptic, prompted her to finesse her songwriting and include cryptic messages through which she hoped to communicate with fans. She identified Game of Thrones influences for certain songs. I Did Something Bad was inspired by Sansa and Arya Stark's plot to kill Littlefinger. Look What You Made Me Do by Arya Stark's kill list, and King of My Heart by Daenerys Targaryen and Khal Drogo's romance. Stephen Hayden considered Reputation a concept album about Swift's celebrity, and said it encapsulates her attention to the conversation about her. It references alcohol and sex more than any of Swift's previous records, which the New York Times' Lindsay Zoladz considered her gradual and deliberate decision at 27 years old to abandon her prior youthful and innocent music and image. Unlike former teenage female singers who provocatively publicize their sudden loss of innocence, despite the first few tracks about outright vengeance and anger, much of Reputation is about romantic themes of finding love, intimacy, and expressing one's vulnerability when one thinks they might have suffered too much to love again. For Rob Sheffield, the album is a song cycle about how one stops chasing romance and defining their life based on others' perspectives. Some critics interpreted the overarching narrative as a love story chronicling the burgeoning days, fallout, and recovery, which Swift corroborated in a 2019 Rolling Stone interview. The one-two punch, bait and switch of Reputation is that it was actually a love story in amongst chaos. Swift's image as a woman with serial romantic relationships and her defiant attitude against this reputation are recurring themes on the first tracks. Opener, Ready for It, has lyrics about falling in love with a new partner, inspired by the novel Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It incorporates a criminal metaphor that recurs on other tracks. Swift said its mentions of bank heists, robbers, and thieves a twisted, but interesting, way to depict finding your partner in crime. In Endgame, Swift, Future, and Sheeran rap and sing about finding true love in spite of the gossip surrounding their perceived images. I Did Something Bad is narrated from the perspective of a female character who manipulates men, and Don't Blame Me compares a love that makes crazy to a drug addiction. Designated by Swift as Reputation's first point of vulnerability, Delicate is where the narrator begins to worry if her tarnished reputation could affect a new romance. In the song, she wonders because Reputation has never been worse, the love interest must love her for herself. The album continues with Look What You Made Me Do, which Swift initially wrote as a poem about her realizing she couldn't trust certain people. She indicated the most important lyrics of the song as, "Oh, I'm sorry. The old tailor can't come to the phone right now." Why? "Oh, 'cause she's dead," which referenced the phone recording between her and West that Kardashian had released. In So It Goes, which features sexual imagery of smeared lipstick on her lover's face and leaving scratches on his back. The narrator details how he helps her get out of her fixations and promises she will do bad things with despite not being a bad girl. Gorgeous has playful lyrics about newfound romantic attraction, where the narrator feels tempted to cheat on an existing boyfriend for another. It is followed by Getaway Car, which uses crime scene escape imagery and a Bonnie and Clyde reference to tell the story of how the narrator leaves her former lover in a hotel room and escapes in the getaway car with a new lover. King of My Heart is a straightforward love song in which the narrator proclaims herself as her lover's American queen, and how the couple rules their kingdom inside room. Swift structured the song such that each of the sections, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, depicts a separate phase of a relationship, and they all together form a complete love story. The next track, Dancing with Our Hands Tied, describes a narrator's reflection on a past relationship when she was 25 years old, and how the lover turns her bed into a sacred oasis. In Dress, which features overtly sexual lyrics, the narrator claims that she only bought this dress to be taken off by her lover and how she does not want them, like a best friend. This is why we can't have nice things, was inspired by Swift's observation of how people take things for granted. It references her 4th of July parties, filled with champagne, and having her feeling so Gatsby for that whole year. In the track, the narrator calls out her enemies and former friends. When she tries to get diplomatic with them, forgiveness is a nice thing to do, she laughs at the idea. The two closing tracks, Call It What You Want and New Year's Day, summarize Swift's state of mind after she learned how to welcome and prioritize certain things in her life. In Call It What You Want, the narrator accepts that her reputation might be unredeemable. They took the crown, but it's all right, and meditates on the transformative power of her relationship. My babies fly like a jet stream high above the whole scene. The closing track, New Year's Day, sees the narrator and her lover cleaning up after a New Year's party. On the inspiration, Swift explained that although kissing someone on New Year's Eve is a romantic idea, having someone by one's side the morning after, to give you Advil and clean up the house, is even more so. Next video we will continue on the album Reputation. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time. Bye.